it's dreaming, right? It's the
Yeah.
ability to dream. And if you don't have a ticket, you have zero chance to win one of those big prizes.
Hello and welcome to Shelf Confidence, a podcast brought to you by the Pennsylvania Food Merchants Association that focuses on trends and innovations in the food and beverage industry. I'm your host, John Zimmerman, and today we're talking about one of the most visible parts of the convenience store counter, the Pennsylvania Lottery. From scratch-offs to vending machines to retail incentives, the lottery is more than just tickets. It's a revenue stream, a traffic driver, and sometimes a logistical challenge. Joining us today are Drew Svitko, Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Lottery, and Eric Grubbs, Deputy Executive Director of Sales and Retail Operations. We'll talk about how the lottery supplies retailers, what's new in their upgraded system, and where those proceeds actually go. So let's go ahead and dive in. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, we're very excited. You guys are seasoned veterans at this. You have been on our show before, so we're very excited to have you guys back. This is great. So we're just going to dive in. You know, a lot of our members know about the Pennsylvania Lottery, but I'm sure you guys know a lot more. I'd love to know a little bit about the history. You guys have been around a while. Why don't you guys tell me a little bit about the history of the lottery and, you know, what's changed and what stayed the same?
Eric, being around for over 36 years, is our resident historian. So I'll let him talk about the history of the lottery in the old days. I've only worked at the lottery for about 26 years.
So you're
John.
new at it. Okay.
Yeah, John. You know, it's great. It's great to have been able to spend a career, at the Pennsylvania Lottery. I started back in 1989 as a sales rep in Pittsburgh, and and back then, we only had one scratch game that we put out for sale, and we were 94% draw, meaning pick family and jackpot games, and only 6% scratch. And now it's it has changed where it's we're about 75% scratch and 25% draw. But yeah, I mean it's been exciting to be able to provide funding for older Pennsylvanians for all those years, and to really create winners all across the state of Pennsylvania, with fun and exciting games that we have offered in my career here for 36 years.
That's right, and but a lot has changed, right? Since those early days that Eric was talking about, where we had one scratch off and most of our product was draw based. We have many more products now, and it's and a huge player base, right? We have different products that appeal to different kind of adult Pennsylvanians, and in addition to, not to mention the huge amount of tools available to retailers now, equipment and information, online resources. We also, unlike the early days, have a huge brand in Pennsylvania. Over 95% of Pennsylvanians, adult Pennsylvanians, know what the Pennsylvania Lottery is, and so we're really proud of that and proud of the brand that we represent. And that brand awareness really results in driving foot traffic into stores and generating incremental sales. And so we talk about some of the things that have changed, but some things have never changed, right? And that is our commitment to integrity, our commitment to do our best to generate funds for older Pennsylvanians. That's always been the case. Matter of fact, we're the only U.S. lottery that dedicates all its proceeds to senior programs. That partnership we have with PFMA members and retailers all across the Commonwealth, that hasn't changed a bit. The nature of the partnership, right, changes, but the fact that we rely on that relationship and the great work that retailers do for us. And then one other thing hasn't changed. It's always been the case. Bus drivers still drive buses, and jackpots still drive sales, right? And so those big jackpots really bring people into stores.
I would imagine. I see them online, I see the advertising, and every time I go into the convenience store, yeah, you guys are hard to miss in there. So absolutely. Which, you mentioned retailers. That's obviously a large part of our membership, obviously, and part of what we're here to talk about a little bit. I'd love to talk a little bit about the retailer incentive program, how that works, and what kinds of things it rewards to retailers.
Yeah, John, it's actually was born back in 2017 with conversations with PFMA members. We invited them to the table, and look, the law states since 1971, when the law was created, that retailers get a commission of 5%, and retailers are saying, hey, we haven't got a raise in all these years. We want some more commission. We said, look, we agree. However, what we're looking for is a business partner. If you help us grow sales, so that we can have profit to benefit the older Pennsylvanians, you can share in that, right? And through working with PFMA back in 2017, we came up with a retailer incentive program, and really what it is, it's a three-legged stool of retailer compensation. Leg one is a sales growth incentive program, where we use prior year sales to be able to provide a baseline. And if you exceed that baseline, you're able to get a bonus commission of 0.75%. So it's tiered. There's another tier in there as well, as if you sell more than 3% of your previous year's quarter sales, you get an additional 0.75%. So in theory, you could be making 6.5% on all lottery sales in that quarter. Now, John, you're thinking, okay, well, great. How do we get to those sales, right? So the second leg of that stool is our retailer best practice program, right? We are so sure that doing these best practices will work and will increase sales and profits that we will incentivize retailers to do them, like adding facings, adding tickets on counter, creating a winter awareness area, designate a lottery space in their store, putting in a scratch table, and hanging up indoor and outdoor signs. Really incentivizing a retailer, if they meet all the benchmarks, we can incentivize them up to $2,500 per year to make lottery a destination at their store, right? And not only do we just say we're just doing all this stuff, but it falls into line with how we sell our product, right? We have great artwork, great call outs on our scratch games. They're put into instant ticket dispensers that are there, scratch ticket dispensers that are there. They're up on the counter. When people come in, they can see what they want, speed of service to be able to buy that ticket. Then they go over to the scratch area where we provide them a table to scratch it, check their tickets, and then get back in line, right? What we've heard from retailers, PFMA members, is that they don't like the three L's. They don't like long lines. They don't like a product that has a lot of labor intense, and they don't like a product that loses money, right? And
Makes
we
sense.
have, through this program, we've been able to reach those benchmarks. And then finally, leg three is our quarterly sales bonus program, where we will pick certain games that we want to incentivize retailers, and then we will pay them extra or double commission on some of those specific games for a month or 45 days or so to be able to drive that product. It's a great story to tell, with PFMA and the lottery collaborating back in 2017. In fact, since 2018, when the program started, we have awarded over $150 million in bonus commissions. And it goes to the credit of the PFA members that sat down and talked to us about how we can grow our business together and how they can make more money, John.
No, that's amazing. I love to hear that. We love hearing that our members are helping move this stuff forward. And to your point earlier, like, as someone who works in marketing, I absolutely appreciate good marketing in a space. Like, I see it all the time when I'm out in the stores, so it's working.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to hear some of these success stories. We're talking about members, we're talking about retailers. I'd love to hear some stories about some of that success.
Yeah, John, we have many, success stories. In fact, we put out a retailer newsletter every quarter, and we have recently just started to feature somebody that does it well, right? So they can share with other members. And we just went to your conference, spring conference. I think it was last week. We had a couple members there, talking with the members and how to be able to achieve that. What we've seen is when a PFMA member, a retailer, embraces this and does the best practices, it shows that they do make more money. And we've had many success stories, many of them PFMA members, from grocery stores to convenience stores. And really where it comes down to is, like I said, we have world-class sales reps, district sales representatives that go out and work with the decision makers at PFMA stores to be able to collaborate and make sure that our product is forefront, to be able to sell. And it's been successful, very much so.
That's awesome. We love hearing that. Success is good. So Always a good thing. So what are some of the biggest upgrades that retailers will notice in this new lottery system? I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, well, the new system, with any system upgrade, it's a lot of that is internal benefits, right? New
Sure.
tools, software, and all that. But there's a lot of great stuff that retailers will see. New vending equipment. And that new vending equipment holds more tickets. It even has, if they run low on stock on a bin, it sends a notice to the wave terminal, the lottery terminal, and that wave terminal has improved as well. The new terminals have dual communications for the great majority of our retailers, meaning they're more reliable. There's less downtime if a cell network goes down for a period of time. We have dual communication, so we're able to move over to another network automatically. Um, and then the terminal itself again is improved, a better touch screen and training tools on there. And then we're also expanding our network as part of this upgrade, expanding our network of the wireless jackpot signs, which we've really seen a lot of success with at retailers of just making players aware of jackpots and reminding them to play lottery. It generates incremental sales in the store, which is a great thing. So that new vending equipment, that new wave terminal, and the in-store digital signage are just some of the really visible things that retailers will see as part of this upgrade, or have been seeing as part of the system upgrade, but lots of other tools and exciting stuff coming as well.
Well, that's exciting. I'd love to pull that thread a little bit more. Like, obviously, we're talking about the front-facing stuff, but obviously, the retailers themselves are working in the back end of this stuff in the system itself. Is there anything in that system on the back end that maybe the customers may not see, but the retailers might benefit from?
Hey, Drew, if I could just jump in on this one, we do have a great, we call it a retailer portal, right? Where they can go on, even if you're an absentee owner, if you're not in the business, and be able to see lottery transactions, inventory. And that is a very intuitive website that's secure and gets it to them. And it helps them look at their goals, right? To be able to say, okay, what am I doing? What can I do differently? It helps them reach out to the sales rep to get some ideas. Also, we have some innovation for our retailers too that's going to be coming here, within the next year or so, as a product that's called Inlane. For our grocery store PFMA members, it's a way of getting incremental sales where we're now able to print on receipt paper as opposed to our draw stock. And that's
Uh,
something that we're going to be talking with some of our PFA members here over the next coming months, to be able to have them understand, how, they're buying their Heinz ketchup and, their Lebanon kielbasa, or I'm sorry, bologna, and, they add a Powerball on there, right? And they can put it on there. It's incremental sales, and a good way, that's forward facing, that really touches to the speed of service that I talked about. It's not slowing the transaction down, but just adding more money, in the retailer's pockets.
no, I like that. So you streamlined it so that the receipt paper that they're already purchasing, they can just use in the system instead of having to buy something else. That's really a good idea. I imagine the grocery stores have lots of the receipt paper floating around.
I
So
I think so.
I would hope so. Yeah, I would think so. So, we've been talking about members, we've been talking about the feedback and that communication. I'd love to know a little bit more about how that works with you guys on getting that feedback from retailers to make these changes to improve the system for everyone.
Yeah, so John, there's a couple ways that we do it. As part of the Act 42 of 2017 that brought us this, is that we also created a lottery sales advisory council, and we have 7 regional offices that we have our staff in. So we break it down by that area, those areas. So it's Philadelphia, Lehigh, Wilkes-Barre, Harrisburg, Clearfield, Pittsburgh, and Erie. And what
Okay.
we do is, we pull in retailers from those different areas at different times of the year and talk to them about, what we're doing right, what we can do better. More importantly, what do they think, is our avenues to be able to sell more tickets, to get feedback on the tickets, right? So they're out there, they're doing that hand-to-hand combat, I call it, selling tickets and taking the
In the
money, right?
field, in the trenches. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and we have so many diverse players and so many diverse games
Yeah.
that we have out there. Getting that feedback in that official way of a 2-hour meeting is great. Also, we listen to our sales reps, who listen to the players, who listen to the retailers, right? those one-on-one collaboration sessions that our sales reps have with their retailers, we've benefited from. Many ideas that we've got from them to improve our games, to how the artwork works in a ticket, that we give our products department some suggestions with it. As we say, some are great ideas, some are okay ideas, right?
You got to try stuff. You got to experiment.
Exactly. But we know that we don't have the corner on great ideas, and that's why we need to listen to our PFMA members and our retailers.
Oh, that's awesome. We love hearing that. So, what's one of the things about the lottery that maybe retailers don't always realize, but maybe they should?
Yeah, John. Well, one of the things I think is, retailers may not realize how much traffic we drive in their stores, right? It's something that we're absolutely have seen over the years, and lots of retailers do know that, and it's really evident as I talked about those big jackpots, right?
Mhm.
Those are when it becomes really evident. But lottery is lottery customers come in more often. I think most of your members probably know this. Lottery customers come in more often and spend more when they're there, and they generate more profit. Yes, it takes effort. It takes a little more labor to deal with some of those transactions, and we're doing our best to improve that. But those lottery customers are loyal customers, and they come in often and spend more money.
Shifting gears a little bit here, I'd love to know a little bit more about what role do the new vending machines play in today's lottery sales?
Yeah, vending equipment is a key to our network and our system, right? 60 to 70% of our sales come from vending equipment. We have thousands of pieces of vending equipment in stores all across the Commonwealth. Some players are intimidated at the prospect to go into the counter. We do
Really?
consumer research. Yeah, there might be a line and they don't want to hold people up. People
Hmm.
might get upset with them, or if they're getting more than one ticket, or if they don't know what they want to buy. This is especially true for younger players and
Hmm.
newer players. They're intimidated, and those vending machines are really good at taking away that intimidation, giving people the time and the space to do their research, look at all the different tickets and the odds and how to play and all that sort of stuff. So that's something to consider. Um, you know, Cashless sales is becoming more and more and more right a part of our
Yeah.
everyday world. It's been that way for a while. And those vending machines also have cashless ability, and so that's and not only that. They're cashing tickets as well. So our
Hmm.
machines take some effort away from, or some work away from the counter, but still make the sale, right? And that's important. Scratch offs make up a huge part of our business, right? The sale of
Uh,
scratch off tickets. So the fact that these vending equipment, these new vending machines that we have everywhere hold sometimes as many as 40 different bins, 40 games at once is a huge benefit. Something to consider is that we have proven time and time again that the most profitable retail sales model is having a vending machine and also selling at the counter, because
much better.
some people don't like vending machines, just like some people really want vending machines, some people don't, right? And so it's important to have both. It really appeals to the widest group of lottery players.
That makes sense. I've been stuck in line behind a number of people buying scratch offs over the years, so I don't know where this fear of being in line is. I'm just saying, but no, it's good to hear that both of those exist. So
Yeah.
I'd love to, so I imagine that these things are obviously driving foot traffic to the stores themselves. You could talk to us a little bit about how much foot traffic we're talking compared to not having them?
We've heard anecdotally from lots of retailers over the years in those lottery sales advisory councils that we have, and just talking with retailers, we know that you drive, that our product brings people into stores and drives lots of foot traffic, especially again when those big jackpots occur.
Oh, I'd imagine, yeah.
Yeah, John, and one of the things that we've learned from our retailers too is that we have engaged players that know that if there's different points of distribution, like selling from the counter, you have scratch products that are there. You also have scratch tickets that are in that vending machine. they like that play of buying from different points, right? They might get a winner and think, oh, there's no more winners right after this, and they'll go to the other, vending machine to be able to go and do it. But I think the thing of it is that our vending machines are so intuitive that you really don't need a training, session for them.
Cool.
People walk up there, and like Drew said, in this day and age, we still have people that may not want to interact with the clerk. They may not want to sound like, I don't know what I'm doing, but over there, they're in that
Yeah.
comfort zone, right? And it's able to, we place them strategically in the stores, and it's able to pull them to different places in the store, where a retailer might have some other offers there. And like Drew said, years ago, NACS did a survey where they talked about players that lottery players spend more on non-lottery items in the store, and we hear it anecdotally, at the advisory council, that those are the people that you want in the store to be able to buy those things, and vending helps that.
So basically, they're buying scratch offs or other things. They're purchasing other items in the store usually too. That
Mm-hmm.
makes a ton
Mm-hmm.
of sense. So, what kind of promotions do you offer to help retailers boost engagement with their customers?
One of the things that we talk about with our sales reps is when certain games that we have might say, hey, this is a $20 game. Why don't we run a second chance drawing, right? And the retailer would go out and maybe buy a TV or a grill, and for the month they would have a second chance drawing that if you had non-winning tickets, you would put them into a drawing bin. And that incentivizes, players to go, oh, at least if I don't win, I could get a chance to win a TV or a gas grill or something along the line. Also, some of our games that we bring out are licensed property games. We're going to be bringing a game out in August, a Jurassic Park scratch ticket game, right? Have all the cool little things, and with the dinosaurs and different things on it. But we also are able to get promotional materials, T-shirts, socks, different things like that have the Jurassic Park logo on there, the official one. And at launch events, the sales reps will work with retailers to say, hey, during this time frame, an hour or 2 hours in the store, anybody who comes in and buys a couple tickets, gets to spin a wheel to maybe win some of these items, and also some free play coupons. So it really creates a synergy between the retailer. They can promote it, to draw people in on certain days that may not be that busy, right? To help them with that. And using those licensed property swag, so to speak, really helps, when we go out and do those promotions. And I think the last one that comes to mind, and Drew, I may have missed them, that we also run through our app a second chance drawing, where when you go to check your tickets, if they're non-winners, you can enter them into a second chance drawing if you're a member of the VIP club that we have.
Okay.
And that I think currently right now we have, it's a $75,000 second chance win. So who doesn't want $75,000 to in a second chance drawing?
I'm sure I could put it to use, but that's just me. I'm just saying. No, that's great about the Jurassic Park stuff. I'm always a big fan of Jurassic Park. I have a 3-year-old at home who loves dinosaurs, and that book was my favorite as a kid growing up, I'll tell you. So just a quick question. I know that you gentlemen are not allowed to play the lottery, obviously, but say you were to win and hit the jackpot tomorrow, what would be your first totally unnecessary thing that you would buy with your winnings? What do you think?
So first I would say I would sign the back of my ticket. I would put it somewhere really safe.
Yep.
I would talk to an attorney. I would talk to a tax attorney.
Good advice.
I would talk to an accountant and a financial planner, right? Get all my ducks in a row. And then I'd do a check presentation with the lottery and give reporters their chance to ask me the questions, and then that's it. And then they can leave me alone. And then I think John, I think maybe I'd buy a boat. They
I was thinking
say
the same
that a
thing.
boat owner's happiest days are the day they buy it and the day they sell it,
It's so
right?
true.
So I know they're not necessary, right, for most folks, but I love being on the water. I love being near the water, and that'd be a good excuse. And plus, I'm going to need a way to get to that private island.
Oh, naturally, of course. How about you, Eric?
Well, John, I don't know if I would do anything unnecessary, but I have 7 sons, and I'm sure they would be able to help me, and their wives and girlfriends and a couple of grandsons, to be able to spend that. But when you think about that, it does give you an opportunity to think like, what would I do? But I've always said if it's something like that, I was fortunate enough is I would, grab as many friends as I could and, do something, maybe a trip,
Go borrow
charter a
Drew's boat
plane,
and
charter a plane, meet Drew on his boat somewhere, and be able to do that. But one of the other things that I wanted to make sure too is that whoever sold that ticket, hopefully a PFMA member that would sell that ticket, tell
right.
them that they also get a bonus commission just for selling a jackpot ticket. We have it tiered on the amount of the jackpot and how much they can win, but I believe they can win up to $10,000 bonus commission just for selling a ticket.
That's amazing. No, I didn't realize.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And Drew, to your point, I hear you on the boat thing. I had a Hobie 16 as a teenager, and yes, the two happiest days were when I purchased it and when I got rid of the thing. I'll tell you what, as a whole other
That's right.
time.
You,
But I
you,
can
you know,
relate.
John, but you raise a great point. The I always say that the biggest reason to buy a lottery ticket is exactly what you asked about. It's dreaming, right? It's the
Yeah.
ability to dream. And if you don't have a ticket, you have zero chance to win one of those big prizes. If you have a ticket, you can at least dream about it, right? Until you check your ticket. So I think it's the cheapest value in entertainment, and it's a lot of fun to just dream about what you would do
Yeah.
if you won that jackpot.
Well, you miss every swing you don't take, right?
That's right.
But you guys brought up an issue there that, if I may just change it for just a second about what you do if you do win. You had mentioned talking to a lawyer and getting some advice financially. If I may just pull that thread for a second, what do you recommend for people that do win the lottery? Like that, I thought that was some solid advice. I'd love to discuss that just for a moment, a little bit.
That it is the advice. Our advice is really sign the back of your ticket, put it somewhere really safe,
Mm,
and go talk to a financial planner, go talk to an attorney, and get your ducks in a row. And I say that because, too many people just don't know, yeah, I'm one of them, what they would do with, a couple $100 million that just fell in their lap, right?
yeah.
And so you have to talk to a professional and get your ducks in a row before you come play or claim the prize, because how you claim it matters, right? If you're planning on giving the money to your kids or some charity, right? You save you can at least take advantage of you can avoid paying additional taxes, unnecessary taxes on some of those winnings if you claim it a certain way. So yeah, talk to a professional who's used to dealing with people that come into money, and that's the biggest advice. And I'd say until you talk to all those people, try to keep it quiet, and you have a year to claim your prize.
Hmm.
So take your time and do your homework, and then come and talk to us.
Yeah,
Uh,
John,
that's
and
great.
just if I could just add, just to really echo what Drew
Please.
said, is that lottery tickets are bearer instruments, and so once you sign that presents ownership that is your ticket. If you would happen to lose that ticket, or and somebody
Yeah,
else would find it, I don't want
it's
to get into
theirs.
all the thing, but presenting ownership and signing it, that's why we tell you right away to sign it. And like Drew's advice, you don't have to run into our office to claim it right away. Talk to those professionals, get some advice. A lot of times there's free consultation, get a couple of them to talk to, and then come in. And then when you do, come in for jackpot winners, for Mega Millions and Powerball, you need to come into lottery headquarters at 1200 Foley Mill Road to do the claim. It's a little bit of a different process. But we also do claims at our other 7 area offices, to be able to come in. If you don't want to go to a retailer to claim it, you can come in and come see some of our people that are in those area offices, which I mentioned earlier on the podcast, and we'll help you along with being able to claim that ticket. And it is exciting over like I said, my over 3 decades here. It's exciting, to talk to people and to see them, what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And we've just started, just a shameless plug for Eva. We've just started a little program that say, where are they now? We look back for people who've won,
Okay.
a couple $1 million 2 or 3 years ago, talk about some of the good things they've done and shared their story. And we've always asked our winners to share their story. It's great to be able to share
Yeah,
with the public. Normal people, everyday people win, and there's people that win every day. Someone just won $500,000 last night on the Cash Five, right? So, but sign that ticket. Sign that ticket.
Yeah, that's important. But John, as you know, most prizes aren't hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Most
yeah,
of our prizes are smaller. Most of our prizes are paid out by retailers, and paying prizes at retail is a great best practice, right? Because it puts cash in the hands of a player and who's in a really good mood, right? And
at
so
the sport.
you
Yeah.
have that additional cash, and we've heard from some of our retail partners over the years that just I pay prizes because it makes sure they leave with steak instead of hamburger.
It's a very good point. Yeah, you'll be in a very good mood, steak dinner time. No,
Yep.
I really appreciate that advice, guys, because that's something that like you think about is like people get this stuff and you hear these horror stories occasionally. So getting that advice of, yeah, talking to a professional, talking to an accountant, talk to a lawyer, don't tell your sketchy neighbor, all good advice. So, but yeah, so I'd love to talk about the earnings here a little bit about where this money goes to. So most folks on the lottery supports older Pennsylvanians, but can you talk us through where that money actually goes?
Yeah, it's great. Benefits older Pennsylvanians. You see that in the tagline here.
Oh,
It's
yes,
not
we do.
just a tagline. It's why we do what we do. It's why the lottery exists. The funds, the profit that we generate goes 100% of the profit goes to programs that benefit older Pennsylvanians. It improves the lives of older Pennsylvanians all across the Commonwealth, right? It's not just in certain areas. It's everywhere. Every county, there are people benefiting. I guarantee it. It makes a significant difference in their ability to live independently, comfortably, healthy. So some of those senior programs that we're talking about, where specifically does the money go? Property tax and rent rebates. We help people stay in their homes longer,
Awesome.
or their apartment or whatever. Prescription assistance through PACE and PaceNet. So those are programs that help provide life-saving medications to seniors who might not otherwise be able to afford them. Free and reduced fare transportation. That's rides to the grocery store and doctor's offices and senior centers and around the cities, and even that happens in every county. So it's even not in the cities, right? And then there's a host of services provided by area agencies on aging. So there's 52, I think, area agencies on aging. These are county offices for aging that provide services like Meals on Wheels. They run those senior centers that have activities and lunches and just more camaraderie. So we really want our retailers to understand that the fact is they are helping every day to improve the lives of people in their own communities, right? By selling lottery and helping us generate more money for those programs. Since we sold our first ticket back in 1972, we've contributed over 36 billion, that's a billion dollars to programs for older Pennsylvanians, and that really makes a difference to the lives of so many seniors in Pennsylvania.
That's a lot of bees there. 36 billion. That's a lot of bees. No, that's amazing. It's really nice to see that that money is going to help seniors. I know that Pennsylvania has a very aging population, so that's always good to hear.
Mhm. Right.
So yeah. So what kinds of support and training does the lottery offer to help retailers succeed?
Tremendous amount, John. When you look at it, after a retailer is licensed, we do have in-person trainings where we come in and show them the features and benefits of the product and talk to them about accounting and different things like that. That's a mandatory training that they have to come in. But also we have online training, right, where we can have clerks and different managers and things not leave the store. So I know it's with retailers, it's tough to balance those labor issues, and by having them be able to take it in the store, that's great, right? We also provide on our wave, we have different learning modules that are on there, so when they're not selling tickets, they can go into the learning mode and watch some of the videos. How to load ticket stock, different things like that, how to do a claim form. Like Drew said, our retailers can pay out up to and including $2,500 for winning tickets. What a great way, like we said earlier, to provide that cashing of a ticket, $2,500 standing in your store. That's, like you said, that's the difference between hamburger and steak, right? And
Yep.
a former PFMA member from decades ago said, I will pay all winning tickets because they're going to buy more, in my store. We also have a newsletter. It's a salesmaker newsletter, comes out quarterly, that gives tips on how to sell tickets and different things that we may be changing, with them. Also, we have a great staff at headquarters that answer our retailer support line that's there. If they have any questions about scratch tickets or about accounting or anything like that, they can call in. It's a toll-free number. And ultimately, we have like I said, 122 sales reps, world-class sales reps that are out there providing training every day and good ideas. We also have a group of corporate sales managers that mainly deal with PFMA members in the boardroom, right? To be able to say, hey, is there any pain points with any of the trainings that we do? How can we improve our trainings? How can we make sure, and identify to make maybe more specific to the retailer? And then I think too that we also have a lot of free materials that we hand out, the sales reps hand out, that they have there at their disposal, to be able to do it. But everything is online on our website. You'll see a little box there that says for retailers, current retailers, and there's a wealth of information. We have a lot of quick reference guides on how to do different things, and that's a good opportunity. And we've heard from PFA members and retailers that they like that, being able to access it when they want it on the website, as opposed to maybe waiting for us.
Well, that kind of brings me to a question here is, do you ever get any wild suggestions from the public for a new scratch-off idea or a theme? And what's the wildest idea you've ever heard?
We get all kinds of ideas, and we love them, right? We love ideas. As Eric said earlier on, we don't pretend to corner the market on fresh new ideas. What's the wildest one? Wow, we've had some doozies over the year. It's we hear lots of suggestions for scratch and sniff tickets, John. Now we've actually had that. We've had
Okay.
scratch and sniffs. But what I will, over the years, we've tried lots and we've tested lots, and not all smells smell great on a scratch and sniff, right? So we tend to, I think we did we did a coffee scratch and sniff. We did some peppermint over the years. Those really strong, distinct smells are easier than say a grilling hamburger, right?
Well, you got to get some Pennsylvania smells, some scrapple. You got to get in there, maybe some hog
right.
maw. You got to get some real Pennsylvania items in there.
Yeah, we'll another great idea, John. We'll look into that.
Thanks. I'm here for you. So, cool. So, obviously a lot of retailers are going to watch this and think about this and consider bringing in Pennsylvania Lottery into their stores. If I'm a retailer and I'm thinking about applying to sell lottery games, what's your sales pitch?
I think, John, the greatest sales pitch that we talk about is talking about the features and benefits of the Pennsylvania Lottery and selling our product. How we sell exciting games that a lot of people want to play. We, from the time that you're licensed, we provide you your scratch ticket dispensers. We provide you all the equipment that you need. We provide you the training. We provide you, like I said, the indoor and outdoor signage, all for $15 a year. That's what it costs to be a licensed lottery retailer, $15, right? Not only is it a good moneymaker, for the individual store, but it's also a feel-good product, right? Because that every dollar that you spend, roughly about 24% or so goes back to those benefit programs. Did last year anyway, and like Drew talked about, over $36 billion, in our lifetime. That feel good, right? There's a lot of products that they sell that may go to different things, but this really does go to a good cause with it. And I think too is that if you give us the time, our world-class sales reps are able to show a retailer how it's not a lot of work to be able to sell our product. It's a fun and exciting product. Like I said, when jackpots are up, people are coming in, there's a buzz, there's a talk in the store. And like I said, the retailer has a shot of selling that winning ticket and maybe getting a bonus commission,
Yeah.
with it, right? But we have really been innovative over the last decade since Drew has taken the helm as executive director, and really providing fun, exciting, great looking games that really pique the interest of players, from occasional players to players who play every day, to be able to meet that diverse need that we have in Pennsylvania for our player base.
Oh, that's great. $15. I mean, I spent more on lunch the other day, so that seems very manageable, I think. I would like to think so. I'd hope that's not
Exactly.
bank
Exactly.
there. So kind of a curveball question here. I mean, obviously a lot of other people have dealt with the lotteries in other states. How do you guys compare to some of the lotteries in the neighboring states in the region?
Yeah, we do pretty well. Now, as you know about Pennsylvania, there's a lot of gaming in Pennsylvania, and we had, matter of fact, there is more non-lottery gaming in Pennsylvania than any other state except Las Vegas.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of gaming dollars spent in Pennsylvania, which is great because it generates tax dollars and it goes to do lots of important programs. So, but we're doing pretty well. We are, I think, seventh. We are, I think, sixth in population. I think we're seventh in sales in the U.S. And it varies by product. It varies kind of by region as well as far as
Hmm.
how we sell. So some products are more popular, say, in the Northeast than they are in the Southwest. And I don't mean just in Pennsylvania. I mean Northeast U.S.,
Hmm.
Southwest U.S.
Okay.
Some products are more popular there.
Interesting. Yeah, always just interesting to see how people are handling it in different places. Curious.
Mhm.
So cool. So, gentlemen, my final question of the day here. I'd love to know what the future of the PA lottery looks like for retailers and customers. Tell me the future.
The future is really built on our long-term growth strategy, right? Our growth strategy is that we want to become what we call, just kind of tongue in cheek, a crummy lottery. And crummy is, CRUM, convenient, relevant, ubiquitous, and modern. We
I
want to
like
be
it.
convenient, and we're going to continue to be convenient for retailers to sell and players to play. We're going to sell a relevant product in relevant ways, right? And that's increasingly, both cashless in stores and online sales, and just really need to be relevant. Ubiquitous means everywhere. We want to be everywhere people are looking for entertainment. We want to be there offering a Pennsylvania lottery product to benefit older Pennsylvanians. And modern, we're going to continue to evolve with technology and embrace technology and can really continue to grow and change with the rest of society, really.
That's amazing. Well, this has been a great conversation, gentlemen. I really appreciate you guys coming on the show. Big thanks to Drew Svitko and Eric Grubbs from the Pennsylvania Lottery for joining us today and sharing their insights on retailer tools, systems upgrades, and how the lottery proceeds support programs across the state. If you're a retailer looking to learn more, get involved, visit palottery.com for resources, updates, and contact information. Thank you for tuning into Shelf Confidence. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share, or leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen. Until next time, I'm John Zimmerman, and this is Shelf Confidence.